Men are moved by two levers only, fear and self-interest. Napoleon Bonaparte, they tell you to be nice. They tell you to be agreeable. They tell you that kindness is strength. They lie. Softness is a liability. The world doesn't reward the gentle, it devours them. Look around. The men who rise, the men who build, the men who conquer, they aren't defined by their empathy. They are defined by their will. They are defined by their capacity to overcome, to dominate, to achieve, even when it demands ruthlessness. Society peddles a comforting fantasy, a fiction where good intentions are enough. But good intentions pave the road to ruin. The wolf doesn't apologize for hunting the sheep. Nature doesn't coddle the weak. And the world won't reward you for your vulnerability. The truth is simple, brutal, and undeniable. Strength respects strength, and softness invites exploitation. The myth of inherent goodness is a tool used to control you. They want you docile, predictable, easy to manage. They want you to prioritize harmony over progress, acceptance over achievement. They preach the virtues of compromise while they systematically dismantle your ambitions. Understand this. Your sensitivity is a weakness that can be and will be exploited. Every time you prioritize someone else's feelings over your own goals, you sacrifice your potential. Every time you shrink yourself to fit into someone else's expectations, you diminish your power. The world doesn't need more agreeable people. It needs more men who are willing to stand their ground, to fight for what they believe in, to break the rules when necessary. The comfortable lies of society serve a purpose. They maintain the status quo. They keep the powerful in power and the powerless in their place. But you don't have to be a victim of this system. You can choose to reject the narrative of weakness, to embrace the strength that lies dormant within you. This doesn't mean becoming a monster. It means becoming a man who is capable of protecting himself and his interests, a man who is not afraid to assert his will, a man who understands that true kindness comes from a position of strength, not weakness. True kindness is about offering solutions, not coddling problems. It's about providing support, not enabling dependence. It's about challenging people to grow, not reinforcing their limitations. Forget the fairy tale of universal love and acceptance. The world is a battlefield and you are a warrior. You must be prepared to fight for your place, to defend your territory, to protect your loved ones. This requires a certain degree of hardness, a willingness to make difficult decisions, a capacity to withstand pain and adversity. The soft man breaks under pressure. The hard man bends but does not break. He learns from his failures, adapts to his circumstances, and emerges stronger than before. He doesn't whine about injustice. He overcomes it. He doesn't seek permission. He takes what he deserves. They will call you names. They will accuse you of being selfish, insensitive, even cruel, but don't let their opinions sway you. They are simply projecting their own insecurities and limitations onto you. They are afraid of your strength, your ambition, your willingness to challenge the status quo. Let their disapproval fuel you. Let their negativity motivate you. Let their fear be a testament to your power. The path to greatness is not paved with roses. It is paved with sacrifice, discipline, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. It requires you to shed the skin of the weak and embrace the armor of the strong. It requires you to reject the comforting lies and embrace the uncomfortable truths. It requires you to become the man you were always meant to be, a force to be reckoned with. The modern world conditions men to apologize for strength, to dilute ambition, to mask the very qualities that define true masculinity. This insidious cultural programming seeps into the subconscious, creating a generation of men who are perpetually second-guessing themselves, seeking validation from external sources, and ultimately failing to reach their full potential. The relentless pursuit of approval becomes a crippling addiction, stifling initiative and fostering a deep-seated fear of rejection. Men are taught to prioritize the feelings of others above their own, to suppress their natural instincts, and to conform to a sanitized version of manhood that is both unnatural and unsustainable. This constant self-censorship breeds resentment, frustration, and a profound sense of emptiness. It is a slow, agonizing death of the spirit, a gradual erosion of the very essence of what it means to be a man. The consequences are devastating, leading to widespread depression, anxiety, and a pervasive sense of meaninglessness. Men are adrift, lost in a sea of conflicting messages and impossible expectations, unable to find their footing or chart a course for their own lives. They are told to be strong but not too strong, to be assertive but not aggressive, to be ambitious but not greedy. The contradictions are endless, the demands impossible to meet. The result is a generation of emasculated men, paralyzed by fear and uncertainty, unable to navigate the complexities of the modern world. The truth is, the world doesn't reward weakness, it preys upon it. The soft man is a target, a victim waiting to happen. He is easily manipulated, easily controlled, easily exploited. He lacks the inner fortitude to withstand the inevitable challenges and setbacks that life throws his way. He crumbles under pressure, retreats in the face of adversity, and ultimately fails to achieve his goals. This is not a matter of opinion. It is a cold, hard fact of life. The world is a competitive arena and only the strong survive. The soft man may be well-intentioned, but his good intentions are no match for the ruthless realities of the world. He is a liability, not an asset. He is a burden, not a contributor. He is a passenger, not a driver. The world doesn't need more soft men. It needs more men who are willing to stand up, take charge, and fight for what they believe in. It needs more men who are willing to embrace their strength, their ambition, and their natural instincts. It needs more men who are willing to be the masters of their own destiny. The path to hardness is not about becoming a heartless brute. It is about cultivating inner resilience, developing unwavering self-confidence, and embracing the power of disciplined action. It is about learning to control your emotions, to master your fears, and to channel your energy towards productive pursuits. It is about building a strong foundation of physical, mental, and emotional strength that will enable you to withstand any challenge that comes your way. This requires a conscious effort to break free from the shackles of societal conditioning, to reject the false narratives that have been imposed upon you, and to reclaim your rightful place as a strong, capable, and independent man. It requires a willingness to confront your own weaknesses, to acknowledge your own limitations, and to commit to a process of continuous self-improvement. This is not a quick fix. It is a lifelong journey of self-discovery and personal growth, but the rewards are immeasurable. By embracing hardness, you unlock your full potential, you become the master of your own destiny, and you create a life of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. The pursuit of truth is inherently uncomfortable. It forces you to confront your own biases, to question your own beliefs, and to challenge the status quo. It requires you to be honest with yourself, even when it hurts. It demands a willingness to embrace the uncomfortable realities of the world, to acknowledge the harsh realities of human nature, and to accept the limitations of your own understanding. The soft man avoids truth at all costs. He prefers the comfort of lies, the security of illusion, and the validation of conformity. He clings to his preconceived notions, refuses to challenge his own assumptions, and surrounds himself with people who reinforce his existing worldview. He is afraid of the unknown, afraid of the challenge, and afraid of the truth. The hard man embraces truth, no matter how painful. He seeks out dissenting opinions, challenges his own beliefs, and constantly strives to expand his understanding of the world. He is not afraid to be wrong, not afraid to learn, and not afraid to change his mind. He understands that truth is the foundation of all knowledge, the cornerstone of all wisdom, and the key to all progress. Without truth, there is only delusion, ignorance, and stagnation. Ultimately, the choice is yours. You can continue to embrace softness, to seek validation from others, and to live a life of quiet desperation. Or you can choose to embrace hardness, to cultivate inner resilience, and to become the master of your own destiny. The path to hardness is not easy. It requires sacrifice, discipline, and a relentless pursuit of excellence, but the rewards are immeasurable. By embracing hardness, you unlock your full potential, you become a force to be reckoned with, and you create a life of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. The world needs strong men, men who are willing to stand up, take charge, and fight for what they believe in. Men who are willing to embrace their strength, their ambition, and their natural instincts. Men who are willing to be the masters of their own destiny. Be that man. Let's examine a scenario that illustrates the brutal necessity of truth. Consider the world of professional poker. It's a high-stakes arena where fortunes are won and lost in the blink of an eye. The soft player, the one clinging to comfortable delusions, approaches the game with a naive optimism. He believes in luck, in hunches, in the inherent goodness of his opponents. He tells himself stories about fair play and sportsmanship, even as he's being systematically bled dry by sharks who operate under a different code entirely. This player may have flashes of brilliance, moments where he seems to defy the odds, but these are fleeting and unsustainable. His fundamental weakness lies in his unwillingness to confront the harsh reality of the game, that it is a zero-sum competition where deception, manipulation, and ruthlessness are not just acceptable, but essential tools for survival. He avoids studying game theory, downplays the importance of tells, and refuses to acknowledge the statistical probabilities that govern every hand. He might even convince himself that he's playing for fun, a convenient excuse to mask his inevitable losses. The hard player, in stark contrast, understands the game for what it truly is, a brutal battle of wits and wills. He discards sentimentality and embraces cold, calculating logic. He studies the mathematics of poker relentlessly, mastering concepts like pot odds, expected value, and variance. He analyzes his opponents meticulously, looking for subtle cues in their behavior that betray their hands. He understands the power of bluffing, of manipulating perceptions, of exploiting weaknesses. He doesn't care about being liked or respected. He cares about winning. He's willing to make difficult, unpopular decisions, to fold a strong hand if the situation demands it, to bet aggressively when he senses weakness, to push his advantage to the absolute limit. He recognizes that the game is not about luck, but about skill, discipline, and the ability to detach himself emotionally from the outcome of any single hand. He understands that losses are inevitable, but that over the long run, the player who consistently makes the best decisions will emerge victorious. The soft player sees a friendly game. The hard player sees a battlefield. What happens when these two players meet at the table? The outcome is almost predetermined. The soft player, blinded by his illusions, will be outmaneuvered, outbluffed, and ultimately outplayed. He may complain about bad luck, about unfair tactics, about the soullessness of the game, but his protests will fall on deaf ears. The hard player will simply continue to exploit his weaknesses, to extract value from his naivete, to add another scalp to his collection. This isn't about morality, it's about survival. The poker table is a microcosm of the real world, a place where strength and cunning are rewarded and weakness is punished. The soft player's unwillingness to confront the truth, to embrace the harsh realities of the game, makes him vulnerable to exploitation. His softness becomes a liability, a weakness that his opponents will relentlessly target. The lesson here is not to advocate for ruthlessness for its own sake, but to illustrate the critical importance of embracing truth in all its forms. The soft player's downfall is not simply a matter of bad luck or poor skills. It's a consequence of his fundamental unwillingness to see the world as it truly is. He clings to comfortable delusions, avoids difficult truths, and surrounds himself with people who reinforce his existing worldview. This may provide temporary comfort, but it ultimately leaves him unprepared for the challenges and realities of life. The hard player, on the other hand, embraces truth, no matter how painful. He seeks out dissenting opinions, challenges his own beliefs, and constantly strives to expand his understanding of the world. He is not afraid to be wrong, not afraid to learn, and not afraid to change his mind. He understands that truth is the foundation of all knowledge, the cornerstone of all wisdom and the key to all progress. Without truth, there is only delusion, ignorance, and stagnation. Consider the implications of this example beyond the poker table. In business, in relationships, in every aspect of life, the ability to confront reality with clarity and courage is essential for success. The soft businessman who avoids difficult conversations, shies away from tough decisions, and prioritizes harmony over results will ultimately be outmaneuvered by his competitors. The soft partner who avoids conflict, suppresses their own needs, and prioritizes their partner's happiness above their own will eventually find themselves in a state of quiet resentment. The soft individual who avoids discomfort, refuses to challenge themselves, and seeks constant validation from others will never reach their full potential. Truth is not always pleasant, but it is always necessary. It is the foundation upon which we build our lives, our relationships, and our societies. It is the compass that guides us through the darkness, the light that illuminates our path, and the weapon that we use to overcome our challenges. Embrace truth, no matter how painful, and you will become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of achieving your goals. The alternative is to remain soft, vulnerable, and ultimately destined for failure. The trap is paved with good intentions. It begins with a desire to be liked, to be agreeable, to avoid conflict. This desire in itself is not inherently wrong. We are social creatures, and the need for connection is deeply ingrained within us. However, when this desire becomes the driving force behind our decisions, when it overrides our commitment to truth and our pursuit of excellence, it becomes a crippling weakness. The weak man prioritizes comfort over progress. He chooses the easy path, the path of least resistance, even when he knows it leads to mediocrity. He surrounds himself with yes men, people who reinforce his existing beliefs and validate his fragile ego. He avoids challenging opinions, uncomfortable truths, and difficult conversations. He lives in an echo chamber of his own making, where his biases are constantly confirmed and his weaknesses are never exposed. This is a comfortable existence, but it is also a stagnant one. The weak man never grows, never learns, and never reaches his full potential. He is a prisoner of his own comfort zone, trapped by his fear of failure and his need for validation. The weak man is easily manipulated. He is so desperate to be liked that he will compromise his values, abandon his principles, and betray his own interests in order to gain the approval of others. He is a chameleon, constantly changing his colors to blend in with his surroundings. He has no core identity, no firm convictions, and no unwavering sense of self. He is a puppet, dancing to the tune of whoever holds the strings. This makes him vulnerable to exploitation by those who are more ruthless, more ambitious, and more willing to do whatever it takes to get ahead. They see his weakness, they exploit his insecurities, and they use him as a stepping stone to achieve their own goals. The weak man is a useful idiot, a pawn in their game, and he is ultimately discarded when he is no longer of use. The weak man confuses kindness with weakness. He believes that being nice, being agreeable, and being accommodating are virtues in themselves. He fails to understand that true kindness requires strength, courage, and a willingness to confront difficult truths. He avoids conflict at all costs, even when conflict is necessary to protect himself, his loved ones, or his principles. He allows himself to be taken advantage of, to be mistreated, and to be disrespected, all in the name of being nice. He is a doormat, constantly being walked all over by those who are more assertive, more demanding, and more willing to stand up for themselves. He mistakes appeasement for peace, and his passivity only emboldens those who seek to exploit him. The weak man blames others for his failures. He refuses to take responsibility for his own actions, his own choices, and his own circumstances. He is a victim, always pointing the finger at someone else, always finding excuses for his shortcomings. He blames his parents, his teachers, his boss, his government, the economy, the weather, anything and everything except himself. He is a master of self-deception, constantly rewriting his own history to paint himself in a more favorable light. He refuses to acknowledge his own flaws, his own mistakes, and his own limitations. This prevents him from learning from his experiences, from growing as a person, and from achieving his full potential. He is trapped in a cycle of self-pity and self-justification, forever blaming others for his own failures. The weak man is afraid of risk. He clings to the familiar, the comfortable, and the predictable. He avoids challenges, he shies away from uncertainty, and he refuses to step outside of his comfort zone. He is a creature of habit, repeating the same patterns of behavior day after day, year after year, even when those patterns are clearly not serving him. He is afraid of failure, afraid of rejection, and afraid of the unknown. He allows his fears to dictate his choices, to limit his opportunities, and to prevent him from achieving his dreams. He is a prisoner of his own anxieties, trapped by his fear of taking risks. He watches from the sidelines as others take bold actions, seize opportunities, and achieve great success, while he remains stuck in his rut, forever regretting the chances he never took. The weak man seeks validation from external sources. He is constantly looking for approval, recognition, and praise from others. He bases his self-worth on the opinions of others, on the likes he receives on social media, on the compliments he receives from his friends. He is a people pleaser, constantly trying to impress others to gain their favor and to avoid their disapproval. He has no internal compass, no solid sense of self, and no unwavering belief in his own worth. He is a leaf in the wind, tossed about by the opinions of others, constantly changing his direction to align with the prevailing winds. He is a hollow shell, filled with the expectations of others, but lacking in substance, in authenticity, and in genuine self-esteem. The weak man allows emotion to cloud his judgment. He makes decisions based on his feelings, rather than on logic, reason, and objective analysis. He is easily swayed by his emotions, by his biases, and by his prejudices. He is unable to detach himself from his own subjective experience, to see things from a neutral perspective, and to make rational decisions based on the available evidence. He is impulsive, reactive, and prone to making mistakes that he later regrets. He allows his emotions to control him, rather than controlling his emotions. He is a slave to his passions, a victim of his own feelings, and a prisoner of his own emotional volatility. The weak man lacks discipline. He is easily distracted, easily discouraged, and easily tempted to abandon his goals. He lacks the willpower to resist instant gratification, to delay gratification, and to persevere through difficult times. He is a procrastinator, constantly putting things off, constantly finding excuses to avoid doing what needs to be done. He lacks the self-control to stay focused, to stay committed, and to stay disciplined in the pursuit of his goals. He is a slave to his impulses, a victim of his own lack of self-discipline, and a prisoner of his own weakness. He starts many projects but finishes few. He makes many promises but keeps few. He dreams big but accomplishes little. The weak man doesn't ask the right questions. He blindly accepts the narratives he is given without critical thought or skepticism. He fails to question authority, to challenge conventional wisdom, or to seek out alternative perspectives. He is a sheep, following the herd, blindly accepting the beliefs and values of the dominant culture. He lacks intellectual curiosity, a desire to learn, and a willingness to challenge his own assumptions. He is a product of his environment, shaped by the forces of conformity, and lacking in the independent thought necessary to forge his own path. Ultimately, the weak man's downfall is a consequence of his own choices. He chooses comfort over progress, appeasement over principle, and validation over truth. He chooses to remain soft, vulnerable, and ultimately destined for a life of mediocrity and regret. He allows himself to be defined by his weaknesses, rather than striving to overcome them. He embraces his limitations, rather than challenging them. He succumbs to the trap, and he remains trapped forever. The truth, however brutal, is the only foundation upon which to build strength. To shy away from it, to soften its edges, is to build a house on sand. It's a betrayal of your own potential, a self-inflicted wound that festers and weakens you from the inside out. This isn't about adopting a nihilistic worldview, but about confronting reality with open eyes, however painful. It is about stripping away the illusions and comforting lies that society feeds you, the lies that keep you docile and compliant. It's about understanding that the world doesn't care about your feelings, that it rewards competence and strength, and that weakness is punished. The constant search for comfort, the avoidance of pain, the addiction to instant gratification, these are the hallmarks of a decaying mind. They erode your will, diminish your resilience, and leave you vulnerable to manipulation. The world will test you. It will throw obstacles in your path, present you with challenges that seem insurmountable, and expose you to pain and suffering. If you are soft, you will break. You will crumble under the pressure, and you will be left with nothing but regret. But if you are hardened by truth, if you have faced your fears and embraced the discomfort of growth, you will emerge stronger, more resilient, and more capable than ever before. The soft man seeks validation from others. He craves approval, reassurance, and constant praise. He is dependent on the opinions of others, allowing them to dictate his self-worth and his actions. He fears criticism, rejection, and disapproval, and he will go to great lengths to avoid them. This makes him easily manipulated, a pawn in the games of others, and a slave to the whims of society. He will conform, comply, and compromise his values in order to maintain the approval of those around him. He is a chameleon, constantly changing his colors to blend in with his surroundings, never truly being himself, and never achieving anything of significance. True strength comes from within, from a deep-seated conviction in your own values, an unwavering commitment to your own goals, and a willingness to stand alone against the world if necessary. He avoids conflict at all costs, prioritizing peace and harmony above all else. He is afraid to speak his mind, to assert his needs, or to challenge the status quo. He allows himself to be walked over, taken advantage of, and disrespected, all in the name of avoiding confrontation. He mistakenly believes that conflict is inherently negative, failing to understand that it can be a catalyst for growth, change, and progress. He lacks the courage to stand up for himself, to defend his principles, and to fight for what he believes in. He is a doormat, allowing others to wipe their feet on him, and he will never achieve anything of significance because he is too afraid to ruffle feathers. The path to strength is paved with discomfort. It requires facing your fears, challenging your limitations, and embracing the pain of growth. It requires a willingness to confront the uncomfortable truths about yourself, about the world, and about the nature of reality. It requires a constant commitment to self-improvement, a relentless pursuit of excellence, and an unwavering dedication to your goals. It is not an easy path, but it is the only path to true fulfillment and lasting success. Therefore, strip away the sentimentality, embrace